All right, Nicholas, so I thought I'd give you some feedback real quick here on what to fix in your model here. There are still some geometry that needs to be fixed according to my last feedback, so please watch that video. We need a few more divisions here on the tail. So for every major edge loop, you can put like 3 edges here, 3 edges here, and 3 edges here. Also, the hands still need some detailing, like I showed you before on my model, in a comparison on how to actually get these fingers to look a little bit better. And again, you don't need these edges to go all the way up the body. That can waste some edges and some time. And you have an irregular star right here and dented areas on the thumb, which are going to give you major problems for animation. So keep those things in mind, and this is what I meant by trying to keep your polys low in the beginning, because editing these after the fact are really difficult. You still have a strange pinch over here on your forearm. I know you're trying to imitate the muscle work. Be careful with that because it does not translate down here very well, and up there it's a little bit tricky too. So it looks very lumpy here, so you need to smooth these areas out. Now you can use the sculpt tool using Maya's sculpt tools here, but you got to make sure, well, it's still giving me the weird error with yours. It doesn't like yours. There's some sort of non-manifold geometry on yours, so double check that. But what happens when it does work, it allows me to smooth one side of the angle to the other, and you make sure you turn on your mirror options, your symmetry options on that to be able to do that. So those things are real important to fix before you jump into unwrapping, so make sure you double check that. And again, the muscle formations are really strange here. You want to be able to have the bicep roll into the shoulder and the shoulder wrap around that bicep, as I showed you on the last video. Alright, so unwrapping. It is not as tricky as it seems, so don't do automatic map. And it looks like you may have tried that, or at least tried cylindrical map, and things got distorted. So let me show you a quick way to do this, and actually not that hard to do. I do prefer unwrapping though in 2015. It's so much easier. But we're going to go in here and we're going to cheat a little bit. Let's go to faces. I'm going to select one more face here and double click. Oh, let's try that again. There we go. And we're going to cheat. I'm going to go and try and do one more. So we'll do click here, click 2 faces. I found a little trick for this that it works. You click 1 face and then click 2, and you can actually keep going. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the rest of the faces on this arm. And I'm not too concerned about being off camera here, because I'm just going to do this real quick, and I'll try to do some quick cleanup on my selection types. Now I can't do the lasso tool. In this case, I'll just do the marquee, and then I'll come in here and use my paint selection tool, keep my finger in the B key and left mouse to actually shrink this brush down, because it comes in really ridiculous. Nice thing about the paint selection tool, again, I don't have to hit the shift key to keep going when it comes to my selections, so I can just keep painting and finish up where my marquee selection failed. Alright, so we can paint this out right there, and then we'll go over to the wrist. That wasn't a bad selection on my part. It was pretty close to the real deal. Zoom in a little bit, and then maybe we can paint in the rest of that wrist there real quick and with little hassle. So with this selected, one thing you can do, we could do a cylindrical map on this. Now the problem with doing cylindrical map on this is sometimes it can get a little bit distorted. You can also, so you don't kick yourself constantly, create a quick selection set. Let's go to create. Quick selection set, and this actually can prevent us from reselecting things over and over again. So I'll just put this as a set. We'll call this whole arm. Whole, we'll say left LFT underscore ARM. Apply. So what happens now is there's a selection set for this, so if we want to go back to it. So let's do cylindrical map and see what we get. So we might get lucky. You never know. So let's go to our let me see here. We want to UVs. There we go. I keep forgetting because I usually work in 2015. It's a bit different. And we're going to go to cylindrical map. Now the cylindrical map has no idea what you want. And if we left that there, it would look kind of like the ones that you had before. So what you need is to reposition it. So we need to go in here and click on that little T. And then now an interactive placement tool turns on. Now we can't rotate it by default, so we have to click on that little blue circle. And then we keep my finger on the J key and rotate this guy. And you'll see down below, if we raise this up, that it's now corrected itself. Now is it perfect? No. There's some major issues that are still a bit of a problem. and it looks like it did cylindrical map, but unfortunately sometimes it does stitch other areas that you don't necessarily want, and you get a strange pinching. So we can click on this button here to check for overlap, and there's a lot of overlap right there. So let me turn that off for a second, or actually showing distortion. This will be the overlap check, and you can see there's a lot of overlap right there. So to fix this, what I like to do, and let me do Control Z for a second, let's go back to our selection, is I like to select just one half of the arm. So we're going to go to the front view here. I'm going to pull that down, and I'm going to unselect one half of this arm. This is so much easier to do it this way. A lot of times I'll just use 3D Coat because it's so much faster. You should get familiar with 3D Coat when it comes to unwrapping. Let's do the marquee selection here. So I'm going to select right down here. I may not be perfect, but I'm going to try and just get half the arm. If I pull this off, I'll give myself a high five. Almost got it. So let's double check what it looks like in 3D space here in perspective mode. So it looks like we missed a few things. That's okay. Ooh, the back almost came out perfect. That was actually not too bad. To make my life easier, though, I think I'll just deselect. You know what? I'm going to add this selection. So let's try and do this. Let's do click here, click 2 here, double click. I forgot that goes all the way down the pipe. So we'll just add this into the mix here. So click these guys real quick, super generic. If you need to, move your camera down so that way you do not deselect the other side, which is kind of counterproductive. If we want, we can switch to the paint selection tool. Don't even have to hit shift. It's a little bit faster. Love this tool, by the way. Did I mention that? May not have. Get that good, and on the other side we will add the rest of this. You got to be careful with the paint selection tool because it is very sensitive. If you're on the border, it will grab that other face that it thinks needs to go to the party, like that. Speak of the devil. Hit Control, get rid of this, clean. Alright, so now when I have that one side of the arm, I'm going to planar map. That is the best way to unwrap that. So I'm going to go to my UVs, planar map, open up the options, best fit plane, hit apply. Now look at this compared to the cylindrical map. Wham! Look at that. We got the arm. I'm going to use the interactive placement here. We pretty much got the top of the arm. So now I would select the bottom, and again, you can create a quick selection set if it makes it faster. Almost talked to like Elmo Fudd, quick question set. You can create a quick selection set, and then you can also turn on your border edges, or UV borders, I should say, and that way you can keep track where you left off. So you'll go to polygons, and we'll go to our border edges, or actually UV borders, texture border edges. And so now Maya will tell me where my thick border is left off from that last thing I selected. So once you've selected these pieces, and you do the body the same way, planar map the front, planar map the back, find the seam in the middle. Same thing with the legs, planar map the front, planar map the back. The feet, you can planar map the top, planar map the sides, and then maybe planar map the bottom if it's a little bit easier for you. It's whatever you think might be a little bit easier, but planar map is pretty easy to manage. So once this is done, we're going to go to the unfold tool. Now it doesn't work as good as it used to work. I used to love this tool, and let's see if we can tweak UV tool. We don't want the tweak UV, we want the unfold tool. Where is he? No, we don't want the smear. I know they've moved it, so it's really, let's see if it's here. Unfold. We'll use the generic unfold for now and see what this looks like. So the unfold tool, this is the text version of the unfold tool. And there's also, let me see here, my computer acted a little weird there. Sorry, I had to pause for a second. My computer is waiting for a response on something and was like acting weird in the background. So this is the text one, but there also is the unfold tool that actually allows you to unfold your geo. And there he is. He's right here. We'll look at him in just a second. So this one here, unfold, the text version, allows me to apply. I can pin unselected UVs if I want to, and I can hit apply here, and it tries to unfold my geo, and it did a pretty darn good job. Look at that. I just did pin UVs. I was in face selection mode, and it did a pretty darn good job of unwrapping that arm. Look at that. Excellent. Also, the top of the hands you can planar map, and the bottom of the hand, so you can cut it right down the middle like I just showed you. And it actually can work pretty well, and I really like this tool. Now, the other tool, they changed this guy. He worked much better in I thought, in 2015. But the new unfold tool here, let's actually go to UVs here, because it won't work unless we select UVs. You can activate this guy, and what happens is you can interactively paint on him and unfold him. Let's actually select this again, and let's see if he's going to work for us. Unfold selected UVs. Huh, that's weird. Earlier versions, it would automatically give us an interactive thing now. But what it usually does is gives you a paintbrush. I might have to delete my history for that to be activated. What the paintbrush does is you would paint over UVs and it would unfold it interactively. Blech! I don't like that. So it's supposed to be a new thing that they've been working on. You do have a few other cool tools here, which paint area surface to prevent further modification. This is a pin UV type of thing. Control Z for a second. This actually is like a paint lock kind of thing. That's actually okay. I don't really like using that so much. But the unfold is very weird, so if you use this again, you'll find out it gets a little odd. So other areas to fix here is, again, the tail. You would unwrap the tail just the same. Planar map, make sure you make the adjustments first, and then you would do a planar map on this guy, selecting the seam one side and the other half, and also for the body. For the face, gets a little bit trickier, but not impossible. What you can do is select everything except the inside of the eye and the inside of the mouth. If you have it, you really should have it inside the mouth, by the way. And don't select the ears. It looks like you didn't edit the ears, so go back and do that, like I was talking before. And you would deselect the ears, deselect the outer eye and the inner eye, and anything else like the nostrils, inside the nostrils, I should say. And then you can run a pelt tool on it and do the unfold like we just did. So I'll give you an older video on both of those theories, as well as post this feedback, and hopefully it will help you. That's it.